everyone. I
Hey.
am joined today with Rochelle from Raising Rooted Leaders, and we are going to be talking about all things preschool and movement. Rochelle, thank you so much for being with us today.
Of course, thank you for having me.
So if you haven't met me before, welcome. My name is Holly. I am a pediatric occupational therapist, and here on my channel you can find all things related to early childhood development. And today, as I said, we are talking with Rochelle from Raising Rooted Leaders, and she is a state certified early childhood director. She is passionate about early childhood development and parent support. Rochelle runs a program in Massachusetts. She actually is one of these people with many, many hats. She supports parents in training and education through Raising Rooted Leaders. And Rochelle, you also educate teachers. That's right, right?
I can't hear you. I'm sorry, Holly. I don't know why.
No, it's okay. I wonder if it will come back
Trying.
on. Let's see if I can put you in the chat box here.
Maybe?
Oh, it seems to have bumped off. Rochelle, can you hear me now?
Man.
Well, Rochelle so graciously has joined us from actually a swim park with your children. So she's here just kind of winging it in terms of sound. Can you hear me now? And as always, there can be these tech glitches.
Holly, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Rochelle. Can you hear me?
Should I log out and come back in to see if the microphone
let's try
works?
that.
All right.
Okay, so she's going to log out and come back in, but I'll continue talking to you. So today we are talking about movement, and specifically movement as the secret ingredient in a preschool classroom. I think it's so easy for us as parents when we're looking at choosing a preschool to focus in on everything and to forget some of these important things like movement. So Rochelle, can you hear me now?
Yes, now I can hear you.
Amazing. So do you want to tell our audience, I've introduced you, but do you want to tell them a little bit more about Raising Rooted Leaders and the work that you do?
Yes. So for the past 10 years, I've been working in early education. I have my own preschool program, and I also train educators all around the state of Massachusetts in the United States. A big part of my trainings are about gross motor development and all types of developments. And I started Raising Rooted Leaders less than a year ago, maybe I think in November of 2020, just because I do a lot of trainings for my own families at my program, but there was a lot of requests for trainings outside of my program. And that's how it started, to have a platform or a place where I can just send the parents, say like, hey, check out my program or check out my website and sign up for free trainings and things like that.
Amazing. Yeah, it's such important work. I think there's something so special about the online platform that you can really dive deep into things, which sometimes even in a one-on-one setting, we're often so distracted and there's so much going on that you don't get as deep into it.
Yes, and I'm amazed of how many great accounts I found and great professionals that I now refer my parents to, like, oh, it's a child with ADHD. There's this awesome platform that you can go and visit. And there's a lot of great information that is evidence-based, as well as not a lot of great ones, but there's definitely a lot of good that we found.
Amazing. Yeah. Amazing. I'm so excited to be talking to you today about physical activity in a preschool classroom. So do you want to kick us off with just why is this so important?
It is so important because if you have a preschool age child, you know how energetic they are. It's impossible for them to truly sit down and do things that need a lot of focus without us getting that movement on first. So a big thing, other than regular development, like yes, they need to be moving because it's good for their muscles and it's good for them to grow. But a big part of it that it's truly important for their focusing and to be able to kind of calm down. When I started in this profession, kids used to come into the classroom straight to circle time. So they're coming in from home and they're going straight to group time. They're singing their songs and they're required to sit and listen to the stories. And then I'm making observations and I look at the kids and no one's really focused. They're like bouncing, they're moving, they're turning around, and the teacher's like, sit down, cross your legs. And there's just this big expectation. And then I made one comment and said, what do you think about going outside first? Or starting with a couple of songs that require dancing and jumping to get all of that sensory stimulation out. And then they can kind of calm down. And they tried it and it truly works. And since then, that's what we've been doing, truly starting with gross motor. Get those jumps in, get those spinning out, have them move their bodies around, go play outside, and that lets their brain calm down to be able to sit down and do those more serious activities that require focus, like writing something or putting a bead in a string. And it truly does make a huge difference. I tracked it down, and the teachers first were really hard to grasp that idea. Like, no, we never start with movements. That's how we've always done it. We've been doing it for 30 years. But when we tried it, it truly works. Starting with movements makes everything else so much easier. And having moving breaks within the day. It's not only in the morning. So how much are we moving, whether outside or inside? To me, I definitely always choose outside first, but that's not always an option. But so there's a lot of indoor ways that we can do movement. You posted some yesterday of the obstacle course that can be done at home. We do that in preschool classrooms as well. We do yoga, Zumba, dancing. There's tons of ways to incorporate gross motor development within the classroom.
Yeah, definitely. I just love what you're saying. It's just so true. Like we often think of education in a very like a linear kind of way, that we're just like putting stuff into this child's brain. But actually we're looking at a whole person in front of us, right? We know for ourselves, if we haven't had like our warm coffee in the morning, or we haven't had our normal like routine or moved our bodies, if we've just sat down from the moment we woke up to work, it doesn't work, right?
Yeah,
so our children are exactly the same.
And there's a lot of educational games that can be played with gross motor activities, like hopping alphabet frogs. Any game can become an educational game. You just insert education in it and it becomes educational, because it's truly early childhood education is much simpler than some people think. We can hop on little alphabet frogs and we can hop all around while singing our alphabets together, because learning through play is the best type of learning, and that's how they truly grasp.
Yeah, I love that. So you shared a little bit about how you have a preference for outdoor play, but can you tell us, in the preschool that you run, like what does it really look like, the type of movement play that they get in their day? Is it like very unstructured? Is there structure and unstructured? How does it normally work?
It's a mixture. So it's the same every single day. They have to be outside at least 2 hours a day. That's my least.
Love it.
Unless it's extreme temperatures, that's like it's below freezing with wind, or like super hot and we don't have water play. Like if it's super hot and we have sprinklers, we're out. If it's snowy and no storm, we're out. We just got our outdoor attire and we're out. And it's amazing. So we do an hour at least in the morning and an hour at least in the afternoon. If it's beautiful out and the kids are enjoying it, we will stay longer. That's always my push, like just as much as we can be outside as we can, and we can bring the classroom outdoors. You can read stories outdoors, you can paint outdoors, you can basically do everything outdoors. So on spring days where it's truly beautiful outside, a lot of times we do choose to just stay outside and have a picnic and have lunch outside.
Yeah. Oh, I think the sound has gone off. Can you hear me, Rochelle? There we go.
Can you
We're
hear
back.
me? I think I
yeah,
lost
yeah,
you
we're
again.
back. We're back.
Oh, man,
No,
it's
we're
my
back.
alarm. I'm gonna come right back in. I'm sorry.
Okay, she's just hopping out for a minute, but if you're here with us, come and let me know over in the comment box where you are from, first of all, and how this message of the importance of movement resonates with you as a parent or an educator. Just adding you back in there. There we go. That was amazing. I really liked what you shared there about the just getting outdoors and having kind of a minimum time for that.
Yeah.
What I want to take us into is when parents are looking at a school or a preschool, how would they know that this preschool does enable movement, or that they do have a lot of outdoor time?
That's definitely one of the things that I'm asked a lot when I'm doing tours. So when you're touring a preschool, ask about outdoor times and also ask about indoor movement, which is truly important. And just the daily schedule. What does the daily schedule look like? And ask for a copy of it, or just let them tell you what it's like. Like, we have breakfast, then we have free playtime, then we go play outside and come in and read a story. So ask about the daily schedule and the routine, and that can give you an idea of what it looks like throughout the day.
Yeah, that's such a good point.
And another point is also movement inside the classroom, which is also really important because we're going out at least 2 hours a day. A preschool day sometimes is 9 hours long. Some kids will go for half a day, but a lot of kids go all day long because their parents are working. So that puts in the importance of having movement times inside as well. I usually always say the key is always have movement before focus. So anytime we're reading a story, we do movement before. Anytime we're doing an activity that requires a little more focus and one-on-one, we do movement before. And our movement changes from time to time. Sometimes we're singing and dancing. Sometimes we're doing yoga. Sometimes we're playing games like Simon Says, that you know. Simon Says, jump up 5 times. And sometimes we'll have the kids lead and say, like, what do you want to do? We need to do some movement activities, and have the kids choose what they want, which is also great.
Yeah, I really like that. It brings in a different aspect of creativity. I know we often worked in the preschool that I used to work in, we would build obstacle courses, but we would also invite the children to do it. And it's really sweet to see the ideas that they have and the movements that they want to try out, and just to see that creativity at play.
Definitely. And a lot of times they come up with so many scenarios that now they're mixing in creative play and gross motor development, and they're coming up with all of those scenarios of play, and it's just amazing what they come up with.
Yeah, it really is. I wonder if you can give us a kind of idea as parents on the other side, looking into choosing a preschool, or maybe if our child is already in a preschool and we're not understanding maybe why they're coming home very, very dysregulated, and how that has a link to the amount of movement that they might be having in their day.
Yes. So it's actually very common for kids to come home dysregulated, just because they follow, there is a name for it and I don't know it from the top of my head, but it's because they
After school meltdown.
Or... Yes, they follow routine instruction all day that they just collapse after. Like, they come home and it's their safe space, and it's just, they're just in meltdown mode. So that could be one aspect. But then also another aspect is if they haven't been having all that movement, that can definitely cause it. Like, imagine you sitting down for training for 8 hours a day. What's the first thing you want to do when you come out as an adult? Like, take me out of here. Stretch, bouncing off. But yes, I can definitely see it affecting the child after they go home if they weren't able to have that movement, because that movement it truly stabilizes the whole body, the sensory system, the neurosystem. It affects everything. And it's something that the kids enjoy the most at school. I feel it does affect how the kids are after if they don't have gross motor development. Because then, if they're not having that part and it's all sitting down activity, then there's definitely some kind of attention that's going to happen.
Yeah, definitely. I know where you are in the States, there's also like kind of a lot of dialogue happening around recess, and that it's not only in the with older children, but it filters down to even the younger groups, and that there's also like this push to sometimes use taking away recess as a punishment. How as a parent, like how do parents even navigate that? Like how do you even know that that's happening, and how can you facilitate a dialogue with your teachers or management?
So for us, that will depend on every school and every teacher because each school has their own policies. Um, to me, in my program, that is absolutely not okay. A child that probably is being kept inside is probably the child that needs outside the most. So we have children, there's always children that have extrasensory needs or children that exhibit some behaviors that are just super wired. Maybe they have, some of them might be diagnosed with ADHD or just have that so much energy. And a lot of times teachers will on purpose have them sit down, whereas what they need is to just like, you know what, you look like you need to go outside for 10 minutes, even though it's not outside time. And that's where I come in. So I take that child, we go outside, we run laps, we jump in hoops, and then they come in much better. They come in and we wash our face off and we are ready to join the rest of our friends. So I feel it depends on every scenario. It depends on what's happening in the moment. But parent and teacher communication is key. If a child has a tendency to have some behaviors or exhibit some things that might not go well within the classroom, the parents need to tell the teachers from the beginning, and then the teachers and the parents together create a plan. Like, oh, this is what we're going to do when this happens. This is what we do at home. Because having it be the same at home and at school is vital for consistency. So that's why I say parent-child communication, talk to the teacher, make a plan with the teacher, and advocate for your child. That's the most important thing. If you let them know about it ahead of time, then they can prepare for it. And prepare with children that do have behaviors, preparing might look like, oh, maybe I can have a heavy blanket in the classroom. Maybe I can get headphones. Some kids need headphones if they get overstimulated. Maybe I can get a couple of a sensory box with sensory toys. So knowing what the kids that we are getting need helps us prepare for them more and make sure that the classroom has all what we can to offer them.
Definitely. And I think like something so key that you're kind of touching on here is also that for parents, when you're looking at where your child will be going to preschool, sometimes we focus on labels, if it's Montessori or this or that or whatever label, but we also need to look at just if there is a place for open dialogue with the teacher. We actually had an experience this year. We started preschool for the first year with my child, my little boy, and the preschool where he started, we moved halfway through the year. So he went to 2 preschools this year in his first year with all the lockdowns and everything. But the preschool that we started, she wasn't open to having any input from us, and it was very, very difficult. And at the second preschool, like there was just such a better line of communication. And like one of the things that he really like helps him in a classroom is to have something in his mouth, like a kind of chewy toy or something like this. Mm-hmm. And it's something that doesn't need to disturb the rest of the classroom, and just that openness to accept, oh, this is something that works for him, so let's invite it into the room instead of like, no, that can only be used at home, just makes such a difference.
Yes, it truly does. I think for me as a parent and an early childhood director, my suggestion is look for a school that looks at the child as a whole, at the individual child. Not everyone in the classroom has to follow exactly. It's not a military school. That's what I always tell my teachers. I'm like, we're not a military school. Each child is truly different. Yes, everyone has to follow the same expectations. We have the same routine every day. But then there are times where we have to bend and amend our curriculum to meet the needs of our children, each individual child. And to me, parent and teacher communication is the number one necessity in a preschool program, because it's such a developmental period. They grow so much, and a lot of things happen, that it's vital that there is a strong communication, whether it's through an app, it's through a phone call, through an email, through newsletters. Communication is key.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Wow, this has been really interesting. Rochelle, is there anything else that you'd like to share with our parents on this topic of preschool movement and all that we've talked about today?
I think asking about the daily routine is truly important, and how much they go and play outside. Parent and child communication, definitely. And the routine gives you an idea of how their day is. Even when they go home, that affects how long they slept, what did they eat, how they ate, because everything affects a child's mood. And then it helps us as parents know what they need when we pick them up. And then another thing is just finding a program that feels good to your heart, that you feel that your child is safe there and it fits your family needs. There's no perfect program. There's a program for each family. So if it feels good for your family, if it meets your family goals, and it fits with your child, then that's what you go with. Because I might put my kids in a preschool that's perfect for them, and my niece might not be a good fit for that school, because
Yeah.
every child is truly different and unique. So go with what fits with your family culture, your family goals, and what your expectation as a parent is from your preschool experience.
Definitely. We have a question here about, are there any red flags that you would see when going on tours?
Yes, I think the biggest red flag is when the teachers do not come to eye level. That's a big one for
Oh, what
me.
a
When
good
they're
one.
speaking to the child, they are going down to eye level. The tone of voice, they are calm. You want to take a tour when the classroom is active, when they're doing activities. You don't want to go during nap time. You don't want to go when there's no one there. Request to go when the classroom is active so that you see the teachers in action. That's when I always schedule them on purpose, because I want them to see what it's truly like. So make the tone of voice and being at eye level are two very important aspects. And it truly, if you hear one wrong tone of voice, that's not okay, because those are our children and you want to feel safe. And tone of voice plays a big role with how a child feels when they're away from parents. They want to feel safe, even if they tantrum, even if they melt down, even if they don't clean up right away. The tone of voice should always be kind. It could be stern, but kind. Um, so I think,
Wow, those were such good points. Like really, really hitting it on the nail on the head. Because sometimes we do talk about like you said, like the heart feeling or how you feel about it, but having like these clear things to look out for. Because also sometimes we do notice them as parents, and then we think like, no, I'm just making it up. I'm sure it was fine, or you know what I mean,
and
and
that
wash
like
over it.
brings another thing. Like another thing you can ask for is what's their discipline policy? What do they do when a child tantrums? What do they do when a child meltdowns or when a child doesn't listen? So that's a great question to ask on tour. What's your discipline policy? And that
Amazing.
will help you know what happens in your absence.
Wow, I really enjoy
Yes.
those. Okay, we are going to be wrapping up. So if you are with us live and you do have any last minute questions, just pop them in quickly in this comment box over here. But Rochelle, do you want to tell our audience, your links will be below, but do you want to tell them while we're waiting on them where they can find you?
Yes, so I'm at Raising Rooted Leaders on Instagram. I also have rooted-leaders.com, which is my website. Again, I am new to Instagram. I'm starting to experiment and have fun with reels, but everything on my page is evidence-based. I don't put anything that's from my head. I am a licensed director and a trained coach on many different areas and everything that has to do with early childhood development. Um, so if you have a child, you like evidence-based information, and you also get to see my kids every now, here and there, and some parenting tips, please follow me. I would truly appreciate it. I am grateful for everyone who has been listening. Thank you. I hope I was helpful to you today. I am sitting under a tree at my kids' we came to the water park, so I had to leave and find a quiet spot, which was really hard to find. So thank you all. I truly appreciate it. Thank you, Holly, for having me. And I hope you have a great day.
Yeah, sure. Well, I think you did so well with this tree, and I just have to say, like, how much I appreciate it, and also how, like, this just feels like this is the way moms do it, right?
Yes.
Like, two birds, one stone mixed together.
Yes.
But Rochelle, thank you so much for being with us. I really appreciated what you shared today, and I think that, yeah, just these points that are obviously from your years of experience, just so, like, nuanced and key. So thank you so much for being with us, and for anyone joining us, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel so you can get more tips on early childhood development. And I think it's about time we let you get back to that water park.
All right. Thank you. Have a good night for you. All right. Bye.
Bye.